Hello, everyone, and thanks so much for tuning in to the Raise Your Own Bar podcast. My name is Tamara Bucky, and today I have the pleasure of interviewing Fathia Hardy. Fathia is the leadership over at the Office of Professional and Continuing Education at the University of Alabama at Huntsville. And she has over 10 years of broad based experience in leadership, management, planning, and training. And so I am so excited to interview her. I had the pleasure of meeting her last year through a mutual connection. We want to give a shout out to Miss Deanna Norfleet. She is a fantastic lady who I had the pleasure of working with in a previous job. And Fatia, I believe you and Deanna went to school together. Is that right?
We went to school together. We've worked in mutual circles. She's actually a sorority sister of mine. So we have a very strong connection and friendship.
Well, that's awesome. Thanks so much, Deanna. This is
Mhm.
great. So you have so many different things going on with OPCE, the Office of Professional Continuing Education at UAH. Let's start with that. What is that?
So the Office of Professional Continuing Education is kind of serves as a vital resource of knowledge in the Tennessee Valley and beyond. We are part of the nation's premier research institutions here at the University of Alabama in Huntsville. So we have access to kind of the world's brightest minds, both on campus at UAH and also throughout our community. I mean, you look out here across the street in Research Park, and we're building rockets that go to the moon, or James Webb telescopes and things of that nature. So we have access to some of the best and the brightest here. And so our goal is to kind of be a catalyst to share that expertise with the world. UAH was started by kind of Dr. Warner von Braun's idea. He was the German scientist that came over and built our wonderful Saturn V rocket. So when he settled here in Huntsville, in what we now call the Rocket City, he said curiosity leads to learning and then advancement. So we kind of aim to be that platform to satisfy that curiosity. And so, our topics are tailored to meet the latest mission priorities and technological advances. We offer specialized content that you won't find kind of on other platforms such as Google or LinkedIn Learning or even YouTube. We have a plethora of subject matter experts, including yourself,
Hey.
where they are knowledge sharing. We're more of a application based learning. We'll provide you tools for your toolkit so that way you can immediately apply it to build yourself professionally and grow in your career. Our courses are available in flexible formats, so it works best for working professionals and even organizations. So, we can have courses online asynchronous, so you can take them at your own pace. We also have in-person courses. We're slowly starting to see companies want to have more in-person training because, COVID kind of shifted the game a little bit.
Mhm.
But we're slowly seeing that, or we can customize it to whatever the organization or the individual's specific needs are.
I love that. Customization is so important when you are trying to, sell a solution because everybody's needs are different. Every business, every professional. And as someone who is kind of addicted to education and learning, I love that because there are so many courses that as a professional that doesn't necessarily want another degree, but I still want to keep learning. I love that UAH has all these certificate programs and even one-off courses that you can take to just really broaden that particular skill set. And you're right, we have so much talent right here in Huntsville. People don't even know. I'm
Mhm.
not from here, but when I tell people about Alabama, they initially have like this reaction like, "Oh, Alabama." But then I'm like, "Yeah, but we have the most concentration of PhDs of any city in the country." And then they're like, "Oh,
Absolutely.
interesting." Not
Yes.
what I thought of when I thought of Alabama. So the fact that we can tap into these engineers and just all kinds of talents. Like myself, coming from an accounting background, I have the opportunity to work with UAH and share my knowledge for the Financial Literacy for Leaders course, which is coming up next. Actually, now this month, we're in
Yes,
October
it's
now.
October.
Yeah.
We're here. October's here.
So that is a really cool program. And maybe let's just talk about that. The Leadership Accelerator Academy that I have the opportunity to be a part of.
Absolutely. So, the Leadership Accelerator Academy started from a crazy idea, and mainly it was because after COVID, across the nation, organizations saw that leadership didn't particularly handle the COVID situation very well. So we saw some skills gaps in leadership. And so we had a lot of different companies coming to us saying, hey, we would like this leadership training. We like this leadership training. And a light bulb went off. Okay, well, let's develop a program that's going to teach our leaders, both entry level and mid level, kind of those soft skills that they need in order to be effective in their roles. And so we started kind of the planning process. And last I guess September, I should say. So it's been over a year now. We launched the first cohort of our Leadership Accelerator Academy with 18 individuals, and they graduated in May. And we just started the second cohort last month with 22 individuals. And they're a mixture of both on-campus participants and off-campus participants. And kind of the things that they have to do to accomplish this program, I should say, is it's a kind of a 9 to 10 month program, and they take foundation courses ranging from strategic communication, how to make your processes more efficient, team building, conflict resolution, how to effectively hire top talent, and kind of looking at your organization and where you need to fill different gaps. All of these different topics, learning about your leadership style and how to work with different leadership styles or personalities, because we all have to be situational leaders. We cannot lead individuals all the same way. And it's not about showing favoritism. It's just people learn and communicate differently. And so we have to figure out how to adjust our leadership style to make sure that we are bringing up those leaders and having that pipeline. And then there you have your core courses, and then we have some electives that are available that they can choose 2 electives. One of them is the financial literacy course. We noticed that a lot of leaders don't even know how to read a financial statement. And so when you're looking at, how to make informed decisions, you need to be able to know, okay, how much money you have here, or are you over budget here, or things of that nature. So your class is very, very, very important in that. We also had added this year a critical thinking class, which we just had this last week, and people enjoy that, how to think critically. We also added a public speaking course, and that was feedback from our first cohort. They love the strategic communication piece, but they really wanted to get down the nuts and bolts of how do I speak in public. And so we've added in that as an elective. And then I love our effective business writing course with Sincere Gun. It's just amazing. You get down to the nitty gritty of different APA styles, how to write professionally, even looking at your resume to make sure that you are presenting yourself in a professional manner based off of the job that you're looking for. It's here, it's blooming. We're excited. We'll be launching applications for the third cohort, hopefully by the end of this month. We're finishing up the schedule right now, and I think we're going to be adding in an emotional intelligence course, which I'm really excited about.
I love that. That's so needed too, because it's so crucial to communication and to leadership and to all of these different things. Humans are always communicating differently. Language is always evolving. Culture is always mingling. And so being able to tailor your message to your audience, it's so important. And that emotional intelligence is where it starts. Being aware of how you're coming across, being aware of how to speak to different people and get them motivated, get them excited, get them to be loyal to the mission and the organization and whatnot. So looking forward to that edition.
Yes, it's
And I love
exciting.
being a part of it. The Leadership Academy is great. It was an awesome experience. All the students from cohort one that attended my financial literacy for leaders class were awesome to just get to know, and I learned from them, and that's
Absolutely.
what it's all about. That's why it's great when you're educating professionals that are already in the workforce doing the business. And not to say there's anything like I loved undergrad. I loved
Hmm.
grad school.
Hmm.
But theory is a lot different than hands-on application, real world
Yeah.
information that really you can leave the class and the very next day start applying those skills.
Oh, but even the next minute.
Yeah. Like, oh, I got to answer email real quick. Oh, I
Yes.
got to go ahead
Oh,
and
now I know
employ.
how to write professionally.
Yes. And Sincere does an awesome job. I would love to sit in on her class. I'll have to pull that schedule up and see when it is, see if I can
Yeah,
fit it in because she's
yeah,
great.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
you have this passion for education. Has this always been the case for you, or how did that come about?
So it's funny that you should ask. Education was not a passion for me. It kind of landed in my lap, and then I'm like, I really like this. What was a passion for me is being a role model and mentoring. That's kind of been my journey since I was a little girl. And I've always kind of been that person that's likes to knowledge share, likes to help people. I have a lot of empathy. And so it naturally just evolved. I actually started at UAH almost 11 years ago.
Oh,
And I
wow.
started in our student affairs department, and I was doing events. So, events is my background. I love event planning, coordinating, all of the things. And so, I started in the events department, and I shifted over to what at the time we were the division of continuing and professional, a division of professional and continuing studies. And I came over and I was managing the conferences and events kind of unit within the division. And it kind of fell in because I have a communications background. So I started teaching public speaking and
Mm.
communication courses for the what was then professional development at the time within the college because I had that skill set. I had done it for back in school. I had done it for my sorority when we had conferences and they had a professional development track. So they were like, oh, you have this skill set. We would like to utilize you. And then it kind of just shifted in that area. After about a year or so, I progressively have increased my responsibilities within continuing ed. As our names changed, my title and responsibilities kind of changed. And so it just kind of evolved, and I just really fell in love with it. I love learning. Currently, I'm working on our project management certificate because I want to do the PMP. Hopefully, my goal is to take the exam in November, but I wanted to obtain a PMP. I love learning. I started working on a doctorate. At this time, I had to take a little bit of a break, but hopefully, I can get back to that. But I just love, 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 love learning, and it really just being a part of continuing education over the years has enhanced my love of learning, and I want to be able to share that with more people. I for most of my stint here at in continuing ed, I was over Osher Lifelong Learning Institute, which I like to call it the mini university for more seasoned adults. And that program really broadened my perspective because research shows that if you stop learning, if you stop using your brain, it will deteriorate
Mhm.
faster. And so through that experience, I really, really have tried to spread that awareness. Yes, you have a degree, and that's amazing. You're utilizing your degree, but you can always learn more. Always continue learning. Learn every day. I learn something new every day. And it helps me hopefully be a better leader and not only for our organization, but also out in the Huntsville community. And building our Huntsville workforce is only going to make Huntsville better,
Yeah.
right? We've got all of these companies want to be here and, capitalize on the beautiful, diverse people we have here in Huntsville. And how do we do that? We continue to invest into our community through professional development and through our individual people.
Absolutely. I love that because it's only going to continue to grow. I mean, Huntsville is now the largest city in the state of Alabama, and it's not stopping anytime soon. We have more and more people here every single day that I talk to that just moved here last week, last month, and so
Yes.
on. So I want to jump back to the PMP. I didn't know you wanted to get your PMP. That is so cool.
Yes, yes, yes. Actually, I just completed the third course in the certificate, so I'll start the last one in our certificate, and get that, and then I'm gonna hunker down and study and try and take this exam next month because it's October.
Oh, how exciting. So UAH has, is it a prep course? It's a prep course for the PMP?
So it's our project management certificate, and it's got 4 courses in it. And you start with the foundations, then you do quality and risk management, scope, cost and schedule management, and then you end with um, tactical teams, and and it kind of culminates the certificate. It's within that is some, it's kind of like a PMP boot camp. There are some practice tests and keywords and all of those types of things within the whole entire certificate. And it gives you those 35 hours of
Mm.
project management training that you need as a prerequisite to take the exam.
Okay. And
Actually
are
gives you
you,
more than 35 hours, but you get all of it is encompassing. And something new that we just launched recently is digital badging. We have
yeah.
We've partnered with Credly. And so with the project management certificate, every course that you successfully complete within the certificate, you get a digital badge. And then when you complete the entire certificate, you get a entire certificate badge. And you can share it on your LinkedIn. You can put it on your email signature. You can share it on Facebook. You can upload it if the organization has kind of like a repository for professional development where you have to upload your certification. You can upload it there, and it's just kind of more of a flashy, like, hey, I completed something. I completed something with project management. And so we're really excited for that. We're slowly rolling out more digital badges with our certificate programs. We're starting just with the certificate programs and not the all our entire catalog. So we're slowly rolling those out. So we have one for our Leadership Accelerator Academy. Our first cohort got their badge recently.
Nice.
And so project management is out there, and soon, hopefully by the end of the year, we'll be rolling out the federal contract management badge. It's very soon, and
Yeah.
earn value management.
Oh, EVM is such a unique beast.
Yes.
I had a job as a EVM specialist at one time, and it was very, very fascinating, very complex, but very useful when it comes
Yeah.
to being able to track your schedule, your resources, and your milestones. So kudos to you for bringing all these things to life for such a needed area. Like EVM is so needed. So many contracts are above that threshold being awarded right out of Redstone. And
Yeah.
so a lot of companies need to get on board with reporting and tracking EVM appropriately.
Yes.
And then, of course, the federal contract management that I have the pleasure of teaching, that is something that is so needed because so many federal contracts are also just every field you can think of, accounting, janitorial, engineering,
Right.
even teaching. There's even education contracts. So kudos to UAH and, so glad to be a part of it to help people grow because I also share your passion for learning and educating others. And that's why I have my podcast, Raise Your Own Bar, which is the same name as my business because it's just that important to me.
Yeah.
And nobody can do it for you. You have to do it for yourself. However, it's great to be able to, give tools and help people so that they can empower themselves.
Well, I'm kind of that person of practice what you preach. I can't preach increase your professional development if I'm also not doing it. And like I said, I love learning. I want to always learn new skills because it only in turns helps me be a better leader, also helps me build the Huntsville's workforce. So that is why I'm here.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is my purpose.
So you said PhD was something you started and then you stopped. What field? I'm curious.
It was working on my EDD in
Okay.
higher education administration, and due to various reasons, both personally and professionally, I had to put it on pause. But it is still a goal, and so we're just taking a quick intermission, and we'll resume Act Two, and hopefully within the next year.
Okay. Well, hey, you're never too old. So the good news is you've got your whole life ahead of you to do that.
Exactly.
I would love to get a PhD at
Yeah.
some point. The degree program that I want isn't offered anywhere around here as of yet, but maybe UAH will one day offer a PhD in change management because that is what
Oh
I would love
yes,
to pursue.
yes, that would
And
be great.
I looked into some schools. There are some schools out of state that I could attend virtually, and then I would just need to go and attend for a couple of weeks every
Yeah,
year as like a
yeah.
residency.
Mhm.
But I'm kind of holding out, hoping that UNA or UAH or someone, at least in the state, so I don't
Yeah.
have to pay out of state tuition, could come up with this degree program because
Yes.
it's really pricey when you have to pay out of state tuition.
Yes, I know that because my undergrad, I went to the University of Cincinnati. I'm originally from
Ah,
Birmingham, Alabama.
okay.
I went to the University of Cincinnati, and so I completely understand.
Wow. Ohio, that's where my mom lives. And
Oh,
what a
really? I didn't
beautiful
know that.
state. Yeah, it's great. I wouldn't want to live there because I don't like the winter time. I don't
Yes,
like snow, but
that's why I'm back in Alabama.
yeah. Yes. Alabama's great, honestly. I absolutely love it. And so Birmingham, okay, so not too far. That's like less than 2 hours away from here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What brought you to actual Huntsville? Was it the job?
No, actually, it was for better opportunities. So after I graduated college in Cincinnati, I stayed for about a year. It was right in the middle of the recession, so it was just
Mm.
really hard. And so my mom and dad were like, "Hey, why don't you come back home, regroup?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not doing that. I've
Never.
got this. I could do it." But after really thinking hard about it, I said, okay, let me take them up on their offer. So I came back to Birmingham. I started working at an event center doing events, and then I found out about Huntsville and how it was growing and more opportunities and things of that nature. So I took a leap of faith. I packed up me and my son, and we drove up 65 and landed in Madison. I got a kind of a short term job at the Space and Rocket Center. And then some opportunities became available, not only at UAH, but also Alabama A&M. But I chose UAH. It felt like home to me.
Oh, I
And so
love
that's how I got here. And I haven't left in the last 11 years.
Wow, that is amazing. And
Yeah.
we're so glad that you did. I mean, so many people are probably, they don't even know how lucky they are that Fatia Hardy brought herself to Huntsville. I love that. I didn't know you had a son either. That's awesome.
Yes, I have a son. He's actually a sophomore in high school, and
Oh,
a daughter who's in second grade.
oh, congratulations. That's
Thank
second
you.
grade.
Yes.
That's a fun age. They're
Yes,
starting to really come into their own and develop their own belief system and
absolutely.
take everything they've learned so far in life and start to really build it out. I love that.
Yes.
I don't have
Yeah.
any kids, but I admire people that do because it's such a lot of work, but it's very rewarding, it seems.
Yeah, they are the reason why I get up every day. They are my why. Especially my daughter. I think it's really, really important. Representation is important for her to see someone, not even just it being her mom, but see someone who looks like her, who is in a position to make decisions and things of that nature. I think is really, really important. So I've worked extra hard to kind of show her that life. She always cracks me up because when people ask her, what does your mommy do? And she was like, she's the boss of UAH. I'm like, no, Vera, I'm not quite the boss. But in her eyes, I am, and that's what's important. And she loves coming to work with me as well. Occasionally when she's out of school, I'll let her come and she gets to just kind of shadow me and she gets to see kind of mommy work and it really warms my heart.
That's awesome. And you work with some really good people, so I'm sure her
Absolutely.
getting to see those other people that are also out here girl bossing it, that's
Yes.
being in charge and being in leadership roles and just doing good in the community. I love that because kids learn so much more through observation. You can tell them all day, but if you show them, they will listen, they will learn.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
that's why it's so important to not just tell people, but also show them because actions will always speak louder. It doesn't matter who you are, what your role is. There's always somebody paying attention to your actions, and then they'll just overlook and disregard your words.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
So, how do you stay true to yourself while juggling all of these different moving parts?
Excellent question. So not too long after COVID, I did Leadership Greater Huntsville Connect Class 23.
Hmm.
And during our service project for that class, it was a 10-month program. We got to pick kind of a nonprofit to work on a project.
Hmm.
And so I chose Fantasy Playhouse Children's Theater and Academy. And one of the main reasons is because my background was initially in theater. Surprise, surprise. And I grew up doing theater. I actually initially went to school for theater, but I changed my major halfway through to communication. So still a little similar.
Yeah.
I have done theater up until college, and then after I kind of moved back to Birmingham, I still did some community theater, but I'd stopped. So I had not done theater at all here in Huntsville. So I got connected with them, did a project through Leadership Greater Huntsville, and towards the end of our project, the CEO, Karen Mockenstern, she cornered me in the bathroom and she said, "Hey, have you ever been on a board?" And I was like, "Yeah, I've done a couple of boards." And she was like, "Well, what would you think about being on our board?" And I was like, "Yeah, sounds like a good idea. I mean, I love to learn more." So she connected me with the president at the time, which was Peggy Lee Wright.
Oh,
And
I love Peggy.
yes, yes, Peggy Lee Wright. And so we talked, and there was a no-brainer for me. I knew it was a perfect fit. So I joined the board there in July of 2021. And shortly after I joined the board, they needed a secretary because their secretary had to roll off. And I said, "Sure, I'll sign up. I'll do it." I didn't realize I would still be doing it 4 years later. But it's fine. I love it. It's great. But so that's kind of how I got involved a little bit with Fantasy Playhouse. But from that, now I'm able to regain my love of theater. And because it's community theater. So I can come to work by day and go be actress by night. And the best part is I get to do it with my daughter. So we get to do shows together. We did our first show, both of our first shows with Fantasy and our first show together last Christmas time. We were in A Christmas Carol together. And then I was in Rapunzel and the Beanstalk this past spring. And then assistant directed and choreographed our spring show, which was Space Monkeys, The Adventures of Baco and Abel. And my daughter was in it. So then I got to kind of be her director and her choreographer. And actually, right now, in 2 weeks, we open The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, and
Oh,
both of us are in the show. She's a munchkin, and I'm a dancer, and it just that's my love of theater and my passion. That's what brought Fatia back. Not the professional side, the personal side that helps aid in the professional side.
mhm.
And honestly, I contribute everything that I know to theater. It taught me basically conflict resolution, problem solving. You got to improv. Something always happens, and you got to be able to think quickly and be able to improv and
Yeah.
problem solve. It taught me all types of leadership skills, kind of how to be independent, work independently, but also work with a team.
Hmm.
And I, I, I think everybody should go through theater. Just do it once because I think it'll help teach you a lot of different skills. And I love that we have a local theater company. We have several local theater companies, not just
Yeah.
them. Amazing professional theater companies here. But I'm glad that I'm able to kind of do both, and
Yeah.
they work together. They work in harmony. And so that's kind of how I stay true to myself. I do that. I support my children and all of their activities. My son's in football and baseball. My daughter is in dance and she does theater, and kind of immersing myself in their hobbies. I also take time for myself. Love to travel.
Hmm.
I'm a big Disney fan. So a Disney trip, whether it's to Disney World, Disneyland, cruise, we do something at least every year. I also, try to take a step back and I love adult coloring books. Anytime I just kind of need to release, I'll draw or paint because that was something I did way back in the day. Just any type of thing to kind of help my brain decompress and relax. It helps me be able to have a clearer vision and more creativity so that way I can continue to enhance offerings here, not only here, but also with Fantasy Playhouse,
Hmm.
and kind of be an integral part to help people grow.
I love that. It sounds like we need to have like a wine and paint night or
Yes!
something because I also love to do all those things. I'm not great, but
Yes.
painting is a hobby of mine as well as coloring. I will definitely pull out the coloring book and just doodle and like it's just a way to decompress,
Yes.
and creative hobbies are great. I've never really done theater, but I've done improv. I do
Yeah.
stand up,
Yeah.
which is really fun and just it's just a way to express yourself, which is, I think, a huge key to happiness because I find that so many people they kind of let go of their hobbies as they get older and they look at it as, well, that's child's play.
Yes.
Those things are for kids. No, they're not because
Yes.
we all have kids inside of us. We all have that young 7, 8 year old version of ourselves as well as the teenage version of ourselves, and we need to kind of appeal and support all pieces of us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So we
And
might need to do that.
yeah, absolutely. It's a lot of fun. I just, kind of taking a step back and just decompressing. I'm also known for having midday dance parties. So music makes everything better. Dancing on out.
I love that. I agree. And it's such good exercise too. Oh my gosh.
Yes, yes. Get your steps in.
Yes. I went to the South Star
Yes,
Festival on
yes,
Friday and I danced so much.
yes.
Okay, I was
Me
testing
too.
these knees. All right. I'm 40.
Yes.
I was testing them.
Yes, same
It
here.
was
It was a
so
good time.
fun.
Despite the rain and the mud, it was still a good time.
You went? You were there too?
Yes.
Oh my goodness, that's great. It was, I didn't care. I wore my galoshes. I was prepared for the
Yeah.
rain and the mud, but that poor field, oh
Yeah.
man, that was a lot of mud, and I feel bad for whoever has to figure out how to fix that and make it right again so that it can be used for its sole purpose of soccer.
Yes.
I think it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Well, I love that because we were both cutting a rug or cutting some mud before you know it. And I had a really good time. I was disappointed that the second day got canceled, of course, but I totally understand. And I'm just happy that we at least are going to get a partial refund. I
Yeah.
wasn't expecting that actually.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So it's like Fatia is a superhero. She does all of these amazing things. She's entertaining. She's brilliant. You give back in so many different ways to the community, and of course, based on everything you've described, not only are you constantly raising your bar, but you're helping other people raise theirs. Adults as well as kids, which is just wonderful. What are some tools or ways you can share for people that want to kind of follow a similar path or do something different?
The best thing I can say is don't give up and utilize your resources or AKA your village, whether that be both professionally or personally. I will tell you, I've had a lot of champions around along the way, and I had amazing teams. So all of my success is not just me. I mean, there are so many people I can name. I'm not going to name them all because I don't want to miss anybody. But currently, my current team, they hate whenever I give them a shout out, but honestly, we would not be where we are if it wasn't for them. My marketing manager, Amber Capello, my website and database administrator, Huey, my senior program coordinator, Jessica Loving, my digital learning specialist, Dawn Dunaway, and then my money person, making sure our money is right, Allison Moore. So all of them make this work. But like I said, I've had champions along the way. Most recently, my mentor and the person I'm kind of carrying on her legacy in the continuing education department is Dr. Karen Clanton. She really she saw something in me when I moved over to continuing ed, and she pushed me. She pushed me. She was there for me. She walked me every step of the way and put me in progressive roles so that way I could be successful. And so I owe a lot of it to her. And when she retired in 2021, Dr. Jason Green kind of took over as oversight for our department, and he has been nothing but supportive of both my personal and professional goals. He's invested in me. He's championed for me. And so having that support system has helped tremendously. So I recommend finding that person who's going to be your support, who can put you in those rooms, who can help you network, who can help invest into you both personally and professionally. Find that person. I love being that person. So if you need me, I'll give you my information to know how to find me. But I really think you've got to have that support. Um, and you've got to have that drive. And things are
Mhm.
hard. Don't get me wrong. The road was very, very hard, very challenging. There was roadblocks almost every single day, and I'm like, I'm gonna pull my hair out. But I I I did those things that helped me decompress. And I thought about, what is your why? Why are you doing what you're doing? And that's what helped me kind of get back on track. Always go back to your why. There's actually a book on it. It's my my favorite one by Simon. I'm gonna get his last name right.
Cynic.
Sinek.
Yeah.
Start with why. Love the book. And it's so true, because that's the only way you're gonna get through the day every day, is if you figure out what your why is, and that's how you start your day.
Absolutely. And I'll add that if your why is strong enough, the how will figure it out. Like the how will
Exactly.
work itself out. You don't have to worry about the how because
Yeah.
where there's a will, there's a way. So just knowing what you're doing it for and doing it for your family, doing it for your kids, doing it for the next generation. I mean, that's a really big why.
Absolutely.
I love that. Well, so I'm curious if you could go back in time and have a conversation with young Fatia, is there any advice that you would give to your younger self? And if so, I'm curious what age comes to mind for you.
That's an interesting question. Um, I would probably, hmm, I would probably say around age 14, 15. And that was the point to where I was like, I'm going to be an actress. I'm going to be on the big screen. Nothing is going to stop me. And I would go back and say, yes, you can do that. Nothing can stop you. However, have a backup plan, because there will be roadblocks and challenges. That's just the way life works, right? Some people can get through that straight and narrow path and it's fine, but 9 times out of 10, there's gonna be some twists and turns
Mhm.
and roadblocks and detours and all of the things. So kind of having a backup plan already available. So that way, when you have to make a pivot, you're not doing it while you're emotional and things of that nature and kind of not making the best decision for yourself. That's kind of what I would go back and tell myself to already have that plan B ready to go. And that way, when it needs to be employed, it's there.
Yes, I love that. Plan A, B, C, D, E, F, G, whatever you need.
The
Have
whole
those ready.
alphabet.
The whole alphabet. Yeah, because things will always change, and being resilient is all about being able to adjust when thing, I worked for the Army for many years. Adjust, fire. You don't want to just keep doing the same thing if something is coming from over here that is threatening you, and you think about it in that situation. But it's the same thing with any situation, not just war, of course. Business, education, family.
Right.
um you got to be able to pivot. You got to remain flexible and adaptive. And I find that the most successful people are that. They have those traits more than anything, over the technical skills, over
Yeah.
the communication skills, over the education,
Yeah.
is that resiliency. And then, of course, communication, being able to have conversations and build relationships is crucial to any kind of success. So how'd you get
Yeah.
so evolved? Was it your parents, or was it the way that they taught you, or where did all this wisdom come from?
So it's actually funny that you mentioned that. So my dad has been an entrepreneur all his life. He's worked hard. He actually is originally from Khartoum, Sudan. So he
Mm.
moved to the States right in the early 80s. And that's when he met my mom. And he became a US citizen, but he came here wanting a kind of a better life. And so he started his own business. He's an automotive mechanic. He still does it to this day. I'm trying to get him to retire, but he's like, if I stop moving, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm like, okay, I get it. I get it. So we're gonna keep it, just scale back a little bit. But he, I saw him working hard every single day as an entrepreneur in America and building something beautiful for our family and our in the legacy here in America. And my mom, she was a theater person, and so that's kind of where I got my love for theater. I guess it's now genetic. Her mother was an opera singer, so I mean the
Oh,
arts are just in our blood. And so she really instilled great values in me, don't not giving up. There were times when I wanted to give up and she wouldn't let me. She's like, "You're not giving up. This is a roadblock, you'll get through it." But she was definitely a guiding light. So both of my parents, just watching my dad work hard, I think that's where I got a lot of my work ethic from, and kind of my entrepreneurial spirit, because technically OPCE is like a little business within a
yeah,
larger business, if that makes sense.
absolutely. Hmm.
So that's kind of where I got my entrepreneurial spirit. But yeah, my parents definitely a driving force, and also my brothers. They're both kind of entrepreneurs as well. They have several different avenues of things that they do. Super smart. So it just kind of it is in our family, I should say. And I just I wanted to make my family proud, being the only girl and the baby girl.
Oh, that's pressure.
I wanted to bring up the rear and make my parents proud. And I was talking with my mom the other day, and I mentioned to her, it didn't really hit me, but I told her, I said, we've been doing research on continuing ed at UAH for the 55th anniversary, 55th celebration of UAH. And I told her, I said, there's only been a handful of directors. And guess what? Your daughter is the first minority female director of continuing education. And I mean, she beamed.
No.
And that makes me happy because my mom's proud of me. I mean,
Yeah.
she's gonna be proud of me anyway, but it really made me feel good. And same with for my daughter, that's kind of what my legacy what I want my legacy to be is being a change agent. It shows progression within the university realm and higher education. We're progressing, and I love to be able to see that and be a part of that.
Well, that is beautiful. And I'm sure your parents are so proud of you, as am I. I'm learning all these wonderful facts about you today, and it's really making me just so happy that I met you and just what a shining example of how you can be literally anything you want to be as long as you have a vision and a strong support system behind you.
For sure, for sure. Surround yourself with like-minded people. I
Absolutely.
highly believe in that.
That is such good advice. And if you don't know, reach out. I mean, hey, Fatia and I both, we're on LinkedIn. We would love to connect and just share stories, share information. So if you want to connect with Fatia, let's as we begin to wrap up the conversation, let's share where can people follow you, find out more about the program, and let's just plug all of the different things that people can go and check out for themselves, more what you do and what the OPCE does.
Yeah, so I'm on LinkedIn, heavily on there. So you can find me. It's Fatia Hardy, and it's spelled F as in Foxtrot, A, T as in Tango, HIA, and last name is HARDY. You can look me up and follow me there. You can also find the Office of Professional Continuing Education at OP as in Paul, C as in cat, E.uah.edu. So that's opce.uah.edu. You can find anything you need to know about us on there. My web and my marketing manager have done a fantastic job making our website user friendly. And so all of our catalog of courses are on there, and programs, things that we are doing, what our mission and vision and values are, our partnerships, how to contact us, our subject matter experts, all of the things. Anything you need to know is there, but you can also contact us if there's something on there you've got a question and you want more information about. My team will respond as promptly as possible.
And that is actually true because I have had some things where I'm like, oh, this link is broken. And I reached out and they were on it. I mean, they fixed it within probably 10 minutes of me pointing it out to them, which is
Yeah.
just phenomenal because things go wrong, with websites. And the fact that their IT support is that fast. And of course, Amber is amazing with marketing. She does a great job of making everything look so pretty. You really do have an awesome team.
Yes, I do. I'm very blessed.
Well, this has been an awesome conversation, Fatia. Before we close it out, is there anything else that you want to share with the masses?
I just, want to thank you for your time, and I appreciate kind of what you're doing here in the community. Raise your own bar. I mean, we've got to continue to do that. As we continue to have kind of that mindset, there's no limits to what we can do here, not only here in Huntsville, but even beyond. So I appreciate what you're doing, and thank you again for having me.
Yeah.
And I look forward to working with you some more as you're continuing your subject matter expert involvement continues to evolve.
I love that. Well, thank you. I'm so excited to be part of the team and on this journey with you. This is gonna be an amazing cohort 2, and we're gonna get cohort 3 scheduled soon for next year. And can't wait to see what all these amazing leaders are doing as they graduate from the Leadership Accelerator Academy and some of these other programs. So thank you for your service to the community, Fatia, and thanks everyone for listening to the Raise Your Own Bar podcast. Have a great day.
Thank you.